Hello and welcome to the 8th video. We will be talking about the value of healthy interpersonal relationships. We will talk about why social connection is important to your health, what healthy relationships do for your health, and some helpful tips on how to have healthier interpersonal relationships. Interpersonal means relationships or communication between two or more people. So why are healthy interpersonal relationships so important? People are wired for connection and people need people. We need emotional support throughout our lives with the challenges we face and will face. And these connections can be mutually beneficial and satisfying, whether we're the ones giving the emotional support or we're the ones receiving the emotional support. That connection is essential. This slide shows us Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The most basic things we need for survival are at the bottom of the pyramid, with water, air, sleep, shelter, and others that you can read on the right for examples. The next most important things we need as humans is to be safe. Then our social needs. Notice that you cannot obtain your esteem and self-actualization needs in the upper two levels without meeting your social needs. Please read the examples of what each level contains with examples to get a better idea of what I'm trying to teach here. You can survive without your social needs being met, but your quality of life suffers, as does your health, as we will get into further in this presentation. Let's talk about some reasons why social connection has been and still is important to our survival. During times in history when people existed as hunters and gatherers, they lived in tribes. This helped with the logistics of procurement of food. They could separate their labor, and it gave them a sense of comfort and pride. Also gave them defense in dangerous or disorienting environments, and gave them social meaning in a chaotic world. So I hope you can see that all of these things are still relevant to our time and our social needs. This brings us to defining what social connection is and what it does for our health and quality of life. I'm a big fan of Brené Brown, and she defines what connection is. Connection is the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. So what effects does strong connection have on your health? It benefits your immune system, your endocrine or your hormone system, and your cardiovascular system. Your social ties can influence your health behaviors by providing information and establishing norms and values. And that one is huge about peer support and having the social ties that can have a positive impact as pilots. Having this training and knowing that there are ways that you can proactively protect your health. And so that's why we'll get into why it's so important to have these conversations with your peers. Having a strong sense of social connection can increase the duration of a person's lifetime by as much as 50%, and that just kind of blows me away. So important. Let's talk about oxytocin. It's a hormone and what it has to do with social connection. Its nickname is that it's the love hormone. I've got Cupid there on the left. It is present in your body when you are involved in pro-social activities that are physical, like hugging, cuddling, holding hands, making love. Oxytocin works with other neurotransmitters to make social interactions rewarding to the brain. Oxytocin is so important for pro-social behaviors. So it helps you to increase your trust, decreases fear, improves emotional regulation, promotes empathy, and social relatedness. So you can see how having the presence of oxytocin in a child growing up would help their social behaviors to be have the ability to be more connected. Talking about the opposite of social connection is social isolation. And we'll talk here a little bit about how social isolation can be considered a chronic illness that is a real threat to your health. Some possible long-term effects of social isolation are disrupted sleep patterns, depressed immune function, higher levels of stress hormones, high blood pressure, higher level of inflammation that negatively impacts everything from cardiac function to skin health, hormone regulation. You become more vulnerable to mental health conditions, and your cognitive disabilities. You don't retain information like you would if you were more strongly connected with others. You can also be more prone to development of cancer and have delayed cancer recovery. So here's a graphic that I think represents social isolation well. So what does social isolation do to your health long term? 70 studies with 30 million people involved in those studies found that socially isolated people have a 30% higher risk of dying in the next 7 years. So here's some other important connections, like your ancestry, your immediate family, friends and community, your work, the mission that you have with your work and other activities or hobbies, beauty, the past, nature and special places, pets and other animals, ideas and information. I would add projects, institutions and organizations, and I'm not sure what this one means, whatever is beyond knowledge, maybe more spiritual things, and yourself. It's so important to know what is important to you and what your balance is. They say that connecting with these other things can give you a sense of purpose and has been shown to add almost 7 years to a person's life expectancy. And I think you can see there that you're using your skills, you have meaning in life, you are wanting to be healthy and having healthy behaviors so that you can keep using your skills and taking care of others or places that hold a lot of value for you. So let's look at some of the barriers to social connection. Technology, with the smartphones and social media, people are looking at that for their novel things, and they're not mindful and present in the moment to see who's around them. And I've just noticed in my own life just a lack of just less eye contact. I don't know if it's from phones or what, but a person may have a lack of self-confidence, low self-esteem, lack of interpersonal skills. It's like there's an invisible wall between people and just no interaction. A reluctance to interact with others, like avoid social situations. It can be uncomfortable, but just got to kind of break the ice. Poor communication skills. I think social media is, if we can survive this, just how people talk to each other online, like it's just brutal. We need to have an ability to listen to others and to express ourselves, but to be tolerant of each other. And I think obviously online is pretty toxic. And just maybe your surroundings lack opportunities for connections. So let's go into some helpful tips of how to improve your social connections. Try to accept others as they are and build trust gradually. Have an uplifting attitude and be confident. Most people prefer to be around someone who is positive. Get a roommate or a pet if you live alone. Loneliness is a signal that something needs to change. Consider volunteering for community service or other activity that you enjoy. Focus on developing quality relationships with people who share your same values, attitudes, and interests. Expect the best from yourself and from others. On occasion, think of something that makes you happy or content. Some further tips to help improve your social connections are to identify reasons why you feel lonely. Start a journal to track your thoughts and feelings and see if there are days when you've done better and what is it that you've done differently. Feelings of loneliness are a part of human nature, and don't feel alone feeling lonely. It's a very natural tendency. Challenge yourself to taking the initiative to develop social relationships. Look for opportunities for social engagements. Bring a friend to social engagements. So look for some new channels of social engagement, like joining a service club, church, recreation, sport clubs. You can always get on community Facebook pages and other ways of communication to kind of know what's going on, what your opportunities you could take advantage of. Make a short list of friends, family, and colleagues who are supportive and play a positive role in your life. Make a commitment to reach out to them on a regular basis, like FaceTime, texting, phone calls, email, social media, etc. My sister and I and a few friends, we send funny posts from Instagram to each other, and it's just kind of a fun, informal way of keeping in touch. Show interest in another person's life. Learn to listen and follow up with meaningful responses. And I find that people love that. They love someone listening to them. And there's always something to learn from people, always. Practice random acts of kindness for others. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. Connection takes time and several different types of efforts. So don't be frustrated if one thing you've tried isn't working. It just takes consistency and probably several different things. And often I tell my kids, instead of quantity, having a ton of friends, sometimes it's good to just have the more quality relationships, and you don't have to have a ton of friends. It doesn't have to be a lot to fill your needs. Okay, we're almost there. Let's give you a few tips on how to create higher quality connections. You need to work on having a higher emotional carrying capacity by expressing more emotion and also listening to more emotion, both the positive and negative, being tolerant, and there is safety in the relationship to bear all emotions. It's authentic. It's not just, oh, it's become uncomfortable, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You need to work on your ability to bounce back after setbacks, and often it's in my relationships where they give me the support and comfort to try again. Allow generativity and openness to new ideas and influence, as well as the ability to deflect behaviors that will shut down generative processes. So that's pretty much like be flexible to new ideas. If your friend wants to watch a movie, unless it's against your values, or try a new activity, or it's good to be flexible. Healthy relationships allow people to experience feelings of vitality, positivity. You feel known and valued in healthy relationships. Healthy relationships have mutual feelings of engagement and activity. One does not overpower the other in taking or choosing activities, in talking or choosing activities or making decisions. So it's a good back and forth. Lastly, in considering your SMART goals for giving your relationships more focus, consider the specifics of frequency, intensity, time, and type. And I'm not telling you this to overwhelm you. It's usually pretty natural. Frequency, you're going to your parents weekly. Intensity, it depends on your relationships. Some of them might be superficial and the other ones might be deep. Time, an hour and a half on a Sunday. And type, it's a family gathering. So again, it's probably more natural than defining it specifically, but you can see how maybe this might help. All right, let's talk about the key takeaways of this video. Social connection improves your quality of life in all aspects. Social isolation negatively impacts your health. We need to be mindful of barriers that we might have that deter our social connections. We need to become more involved in our current relationships and find opportunities to connect with others. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. I get it if you're busy. Thanks for watching, and please continue on to video number 9. You have now completed all 6 pillars of health of lifestyle medicine. In video 9, we'll be talking about mental health vital signs and other tools and resources to help you objectively gauge your mental health.